Hi and welcome. I am trying to learn histology, today epidermal wound healing, and after we've done it, we're going to do shoulder impingement training. If you participate in the shoulder impingement training, then it's at your own risk. And we're talking about bones and wound healing, internal anatomy, the blood system, and this is no medical advice. And this is part 4, I think, or 3. Epidermal wound healing. Even though the central portion of an epidermal wound may extend to the dermis, the edges of a wound usually involve only slight damage to superficial epidermal cells. The edges of a wound. I don't really understand that part, because we mentioned in the next sentence that most wounds, or many wounds, are abrasions, and I think they're doing a lot of damage to the epidermis. We're going to stay away from that. We want to do epidermal wound healing, not explaining now who does what. Common types of epidermal wounds include abrasions in which a portion of skin has been scraped away and minor burns. I don't think you have to say that, but if you would say it, it are abrasions where the skin has been scraped away or minor burns. In response to an epidermal injury, basal cells of the epidermis surrounding the wound break contact with the basement membrane. I'm going to look if I found somewhere a picture of the basement membrane. Stratum basal. It could be that. But we're going to stay away from it. We're just going to say the basal cells of the epidermis surrounding the wound break contact with the basement membrane. So from the basement membrane, what if the damage is not involving the base up to the basement membrane? We have multiple layers of these basal cells. What if it doesn't go down to the basal layer? When it happens, probably just through normal replacement. Okay, now from the basement membrane, the basal cells are breaking off and wandering and migrating. The cells then enlarge and migrate across the bone. And they're migrating until they're reaching from the other side. We're going to say the basal cells are breaking off of the basement membrane, or let's have these 3 words clear. The epidermis. So the basal cells of the epidermis breaking off of the basement membrane. The basal of a basement membrane in the epidermis. The basal cells are breaking off from the basement membrane at the ground of the epidermis. I think that is correct. And wandering closer to each other, and they're getting larger and dividing, and they're getting larger and migrating as a sheet until advancing cells from opposite sides of the wound meet over the wound until they reach the other cells advancing from the other side. That's the first thing. When they encounter each other, they stop due to a cellular response called contact inhibitor. As soon as they contact with each other from the one from the other side, the contact inhibitor is released. No, we don't know it. The cellular response, contact inhibitor, happens. While some basal epidermal cells migrate, epidermal growth factor, a hormone, stimulates basal stem cells to divide and replace. It are the basal cells of the epidermis. We're going to call them basal cells. the epidermal growth factor, no, it's all three words are lowercase, so it are the epidermal growth factor, or is it epidermal growth factor? I would guess it is epidermal growth factor, all three words, one word. And that is a hormone. So after that the epidermal growth factor causes them to divide, the basal cells to divide and replace the ones that have moved into the wound. Now the ones which have moved to the wound are replaced then because the epidermal growth factor stimulates the basal cells to divide and replace the ones which have moved in. Epidermal growth factor stimulates basal cells, basal stem cells to divide and replace the ones that have moved into the wound. Replacement and migrating basal cells continues until the wound is resurfaced. We don't have to mention that. Replacement of migrating basal cells. That makes total sense. Yes, we don't have to mention it. That makes sense when that's what he said. Following this, the relocated cells divide to build new strata, thus thickening the new epidermis. Okay. By an epidermal wound, the basal cells of a basement membrane break off and start to migrate from all sides of the wound until they meet each other. They break off, is that correct? Break contact with the basement membrane, break off from the basement membrane and wander over the wound until they reach the other ones coming from all sides, until they all have resurfaced the wound. At the same time, the epidermal growth factor, which is a hormone, stimulates the basal stem cells to divide and replace the ones which have moved away to resurface the wound. After that, they getting a contact with something else. So we have what do we have? We have the epidermal growth factor to say when they have something moved away, you have to refill, and we have a contact inhibition, a cellular response, telling them they have reached the other one. Okay, and after they through a cellular response called contact inhibition, let's look it up, inhibition, not inhibitor, the word is split a bit, inhibition, I don't know how it's pronounced, inhibit, at the end of my letter, inhibition, contact inhibition, and when they're starting to divide, to refill, what was it called? The relocated cells divide to build new strata, thus thickening the new epidermis. Too many words, I don't really know what it is. We're dividing to build new strata and thickening the epidermis, to build new strata and thickening the epidermis back to old level. I think we have it together. They're way over time already. Let's just try it and look up it. Epidermal wound healing. By epidermal wound healing, the basal cells are breaking off of the basement membrane and starting to migrate towards from all sides to close the wound, to resurface the ground. There is the epidermal growth factor, a hormone, which is then stimulating the basal stem cells to fill the gaps of the ones who moved away. So from here, they have moved away, and that epidermal growth factor stimulates then the basal stem cells to fill the gaps. Now, and there is the contact inhibition, and that is a cellular response, and that tells the cells when they have met the other one, and then it happens just that they're starting to divide again until the epidermis is rebuilt. And that is according to Gerard and Senebobowski's Principles of Anatomy and Physiology book, page 152, but this is now medical advice. I wasn't able to say my word. Contact inhibition. Whatever I said. I'm going to write it maybe correctly somewhere as an asterisk. I'm going to stop the camera. And by the was my histology part. If you were here for histology, you can go directly to the next part of histology. We're going to do now the shoulder pinch training. If you're still participating in the shoulder pinch training, and it's better the honest. We're having a leg standing good and wide apart. What are we doing? We're having a stable state, and we're doing shoulder circles. Now back, up, and front, and down. Again, back with shoulders, and front, and down. And again, backwards, front, up, and down. Now, long arms, strong fists. Go as far back as you can with the shoulders. High up, front, and down. Again, back, up, front, and down. And up, back, down, front, up, back, and down. Now, long arms, strong fists. Shoulders down and together, and turn the arms to the inside. Now the arms to the outside, shoulders still down and together. Arms to the inside, shoulders down and together. Arms to the outside, shoulders down and together. Knees, and now something similar. Arms to the side, hands on the fists, a bit in front, turn the arms in front, shoulders down and together. Arms back, shoulders up and in front. And the arms in front, shoulders down and together. Arms back, shoulders up and in front. And release. And now, lift the arms up and shrug the shoulders up, or shrug, and roll down again. If this or any other exercise causes pain, then down to it. Arms up, shoulders up, and all down. And another time, arms up, shoulders up, and all down. And now the pretzel curl, arms together, a bit down and to the outside. And now, the sundial. I'm going to use a sock, you can use something else. Have it long and at the outside. Let it fall down and try to catch it again. And roll slowly in front. And on the other side. And to the last exercise, we're stretching the elephant shrug. One arm in front, shoulders back and down. Pull the arm in and have flat fingers. So right, relax the arm, go with back of the shoulder and turn palm up to the sky. The arm in front, shoulders back and down. Pull the arm in, have flat fingers. Try to relax the arm, go with back of the shoulder, turn the palm up to the sky. And that was the shoulder pinch training. I thank you very much, and until next time.